What up, YouTube? It's Life with Dom back again with another video. Today, I'm gonna just do a voiceover. I just wanted to talk about like just having points in life where you fall off and realizing that you may or may not have as much help as you think, or at the end of the day, in the most raw form, no one really cares. And I'm not saying that as like some type of being angry or being mad at the world, but it's kind of just realizing, like, at the end of the day, that you have to bring yourself out of certain situations. Now, I personally went through something like this. I don't know, man. It just happened. Like, I don't know. I just realized, like, the last month or so, just reflecting that, I don't know. I just was out of it. I was in like a slump, like, thinking things like, is this going to work? Is this not going to work? Should I do this or that? And like, we all been there, just kind of at a crossroads of the next move. And, how do you know if, something works, or if something is going to bring you just some type of value in the long run? And yeah, I was going through that. I think that a lot of people go through that. I know for sure that I'm not the only one that goes through that. But I feel like nobody talks about just kind of digging yourself out of a hole and like coming back. And honestly, bro, like, I don't know how some people don't get numb, because it definitely can make you numb if you're not if you don't have like the certain amount of like self-awareness or whatever. But it's just having the I think having the awareness, helps you have like a long-term outlook on maybe why you're going through this, slump, or maybe why, you feel like you have to get back on track. And I'ma just, I'm kind of over the place right now, but I'ma just like I'ma just kind of describe like how I'm going about getting back on track. Yeah, so as I said earlier, like, I was going through those, situations, whatever. It's like that was like my mind frame at the, for maybe a few 3 weeks. And one thing I noticed about, going through it was that it's so easy to fall off. Like, all it takes is just 1 week of you going off script, so to speak. And then, like, that resistance or that blockage of getting back on track, it kind of becomes stronger and stronger. So, for example, let's say you was on point and you was going to the gym 4 times a week, and then you create some type of situation where, like, you know what, I gotta do this, then the third, so I'm gonna skip the gym today. So then the following week, instead of going 4 times, you go 3, and then so on and so on. Then it turns to 2, then it turns to 1, then it turns into, well, I gotta get something done this week, so I'm not gonna go to the gym this week. Like, that's the thing. Like, you have to create non-negotiables, as people say, or things where you're like, I absolutely can't miss this. And that's one thing I realized, and I think that's why I did kind of fall, because I realized that I realized that I had no non-negotiables. I had no rules for myself as far as like, yo, I literally can't miss this. And I think I was missing stuff, because sometimes we create scenarios where we're like, well, if I don't do it, at the exact time or the exact amount of time I should do it, then that's a failure. But the way I look at it now is, as long as I, like, let's say for instance I want to exercise, as long as I get 30 minutes, that's a win. Now, me working out an hour, hour and a half, if that's my goal, that would be cool. But at the end of the day, it's all about doing something consistently. So, I feel like that was my mistake. I would say, well, I have a goal to do this in a certain amount of time, or I plan to spend this amount of time on certain things. But if I don't do that, then it's a failure. And I feel like you shouldn't think like that. You should always be, or at least have the mind frame of, if I do it at least, if I do it for 1 minute, that's a win. As long as I'm doing something daily, or X amount of times I want to do something per week, then like that's a win. And I honestly can say, like, I didn't have that mindset before, but now that I do, I think that's gonna help me, you know, with my journey in the long run, and getting back on track. So, um, if you're watching this and you're trying to get back on track, or you're just trying to get disciplined, period, I feel like the key to being successful in whatever you want to do is just to have systems. Like, because at the end of the day, man, like, most motivation, and you know it's cool to be ambitious, but at the end of the day, all that shit is going to waver, and you just need systems that's going to get you over the hump. Like, I can say I'm gonna eat healthy all I want, but if I come in after working out, with nothing prepared, I'm probably prone to snacking. I'm probably prone to just ordering out or something like that because I'm hungry. So, um, you have to realize how much systems really do help us, and it's a reason why I think us as human beings always have like a lot of schedules, systems, things we do daily at the same time. I think that's why the school system works good, because every day you have science at, let's say, 2 p.m. Every day you have English at 10 a.m. So when you just have a non-negotiable slot, no matter what you do in that time slot, as long as you're doing it, you're gonna be good. So, um, and I think that's just my approach from now on. And like I said, like what I learned going through this, man. Like I said, I felt it all. Like, you know, it's so easy to just get in the mind frame of like, damn, like, is this life, or this situation sucks, or am I ever gonna get better, and things like that. Just having self doubt and stuff like that. Like, that shit's normal, and if you don't do anything to combat it, and I can see where it can take its toll on you, because in this society we live in, man, like, it's so much pressure to be something. There's so much pressure to be good. I mean, I'm not gonna say good. There's so much pressure to be great. There's so much pressure to just you know feel like you have to be in competition with people and doing something, because you know I feel like this world we live in today, where a lot of people are on social media and things like that, is breeding a lot of competing with people and thinking you need this, that, and the third to be, official, or that you made it. When in reality, like, nothing's a race, and like, that sounds cool to say, but what I'm saying, I can see where people feel pressure. Like, let's say you're around people, and you're around 10 people, and it's 11 of y'all together, and you're the only one that let's say, for instance, like, everybody is a millionaire, and you're a non-millionaire. Like, I can see where that can, if you don't have the mind frame, I can see where that can creep in your brain and make you feel like, am I less than? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we're all normal. I feel like we all have a point where we can crack. And I think people cap and act like they're so confident, and when in reality, I don't think everybody is as confident, or is as you know um let's say, like, confident or comfortable with yourself as they portray. So, Um, I think that's why they'll tie it in. I think that's why people do fall off track, and it's hard for them to get back because they have like just like a they have a unsustainable and just you know an expectation that they can never you know um, keep up with. So I think that's why people fall into this trap. And for anybody watching this, like, just don't fall into that trap. And if you do fall off, there's nothing wrong with it. You can't be hard on yourself because things like that will happen. But just get back on track and have your systems in place, and always realize like what are you doing this for? Anything you want, like what do you really want, and are you doing things for you? I think that's what life is about. It's not about competition, like I said earlier. It's about like what do you want, and through this whole process. And the funny thing is, I only went through this for, I would say, a month per se, but it was just a time for me to reflect. So I think sometimes you need to reflect too, you know, a lot actually. And it was just a time for me where I'm just like, you know, at the end of the day, bro, like no one cares. Like I can't be like a crybaby and be like, oh, I need people to help me do this and third. Like, cause if you can't make decisions on your own, or if you can't just stand on your own 2 feet and realize the decision is for you, then you're always gonna have or allow outside noises to, deter you in certain directions. And I think that you need to first, before you even, it's not wrong with advice from other people or suggestions, but I think you first need to be comfortable in trusting your decision. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about it. Just having trust in your own decisions and things like that. You need that in order to grow. Um, and like I said, if you don't have that, I can't see where you can move forward. So I don't want to make this long, but all in all, get better at making your own decisions, have systems, and realize that things like these happen. But maybe it happens because it's time for you to reevaluate of what you want and what you should do next. And to close out, I would say at the end of the day, bro or sis, like go for it. Cause that's the point I'm at in life, man. Just go for it. Like if I come up short, you know, of the ceiling, like I'll definitely get something. Shoot for the stars. If I come up short, I'll definitely get something. And I would just say go for it, cause at the end of the day, all this shit is all on you, and that's how it's gonna be. And hopefully you guys took something from this. And I didn't want to make it long, but it ended up being long anyway. That's how I always go. But please like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, see y'all. Life with Don, we out. Peace.